The galaxy was vast, filled with countless stars, planets and civilizations that had existed long before humanity even crawled out of its primordial oceans. To these advanced alien races, Earth was nothing more than a tiny blue dot, a speck floating aimlessly in space. They watched it from afar through their telescopes and sensors, amused by what they saw. Humans were strange creatures, fragile, chaotic, and endlessly divided. Wars raged across their lands over borders, beliefs, and resources. Their leaders argued constantly while their people suffered. And yet, despite all this, humans dreamed. They looked up at the night sky with wonder, building machines to reach the stars even though they barely understood them. To the aliens, this made no sense. Why waste time chasing dreams when survival was already so hard? For centuries, extraterrestrial beings intercepted signals coming from Earth. Radio waves carried music, laughter, cries of despair, and endless chatter about politics, science, and love. Some aliens found it entertaining, like listening to a soap opera from another dimension. Others dismissed it as noise, unworthy of attention. But everyone agreed on one thing: humans were amusing, but irrelevant. How could such a fractured species ever pose a threat to anyone? The idea seemed laughable, and so the galaxy moved on, leaving Earth alone in its corner of the cosmos. Alien ships occasionally passed near the planet, scanning it briefly before moving on to more interesting destinations. Occasionally probes were sent to gather data, but none stayed for long. There was no reason to. Humanity hadn't developed faster than space travel or weapons powerful enough to defend itself against an interstellar attack. Even if they tried, the aliens thought, humans would fail miserably. After all, how could a species still struggling to feed its own population hope to stand against civilizations that had mastered energy manipulation and artificial intelligence? But there was something the aliens didn't know, something hidden beneath the surface of Earth's oceans, mountains, and deserts. For decades, governments around the world had been secretly preparing for the day when humanity might face a threat from beyond the stars. At first, it started small. Scientists studied fragments of meteorites and mysterious objects recovered from crash sites. Governments poured billions into classified programs aimed at understanding alien technology and reverse engineering it. Slowly but surely, humanity began piecing together knowledge that would allow it to fight back against any potential invaders. By the early 21st century, these efforts had evolved into something far greater, hidden deep underground. Shielded by layers of rock and reinforced steel, lay facilities known only to a select few. These bunkers housed not just laboratories and research centers, but also training grounds for soldiers unlike anything the world had ever seen. Known as Project Titan, the program focused on creating the ultimate warriors, humans genetically enhanced to possess superhuman strength, speed, reflexes, and intelligence. From birth, these individuals were raised in isolation, trained rigorously in combat techniques, strategy, and survival skills. Every aspect of their lives was designed to prepare them for one purpose: defending Earth against an extraterrestrial invasion. Commander Elena Vega was one of these titans. Born into the program, she had spent her entire life preparing for war. Her body was a marvel of genetic engineering, capable of feats ordinary humans could only dream of. She could run faster than a cheetah, lift weights heavier than a car, and process information at lightning speed. Yet what truly set her apart was her mind. Vega wasn't just strong, she was brilliant, a master tactician who could outthink her opponents in seconds. Over the years, she had risen through the ranks to become the leader of the Titans, earning the respect and loyalty of every soldier under her command. Despite all this preparation, however, humanity remained blissfully unaware of the danger lurking beyond the stars. Life went on as usual. People worked, played, loved, and fought, oblivious to the fact that their planet was being quietly monitored by forces far greater than themselves. Then one fateful morning, everything changed. It started with a strange disturbance in Earth's orbit. Astronomers around the world noticed unusual activity, a sudden spike in energy readings that couldn't be explained by natural phenomena. Satellites captured images of swirling clouds high above the atmosphere, glowing faintly like auroras but much brighter. Scientists scrambled to analyze the data, debating whether it was some kind of solar flare or perhaps an undiscovered comet passing dangerously close to Earth. Whatever it was growing larger by the minute. As the hours passed, panic began to spread. News outlets reported sightings of strange lights in the sky, visible even during daylight. Social media erupted with videos and photos showing a shimmering rift forming overhead, stretching across continents and casting eerie shadows on the ground. People gathered outside staring upward in awe and terror as the phenomenon intensified. Churches held emergency prayer sessions, while conspiracy theorists claimed it was proof of divine intervention or judgment. Governments issued statements, urging calm, but no one really knew what was happening. Then, without warning, the rift tore open completely, revealing a sight that would haunt humanity forever. Hundreds of massive ships emerged from the void, each one dwarfing anything humans had ever built. They were sleek and menacing, bristling with weapons and glowing with an otherworldly light. The largest of these vessels, the size of a small moon, hung ominously in the center of the formation, radiating power and authority. As the ships positioned themselves around Earth, a chilling message echoed across every radio frequency, television channel, and smartphone screen. "Attention, inhabitants of Earth." The voice boomed, cold and mechanical. "We are the Zorathians, supreme rulers of the galaxy. Your planet is now under our control. Surrender immediately or face complete annihilation." The world froze. Billions of people listened in stunned silence as the implications sank in. This wasn't science fiction. It was real. Aliens had come, and they weren't here to make friends. The streets emptied as people rushed indoors, locking doors and windows in a futile attempt to feel safe. Emergency broadcasts urged citizens to stay calm and follow instructions, but fear gripped the planet like a vice. What could humanity possibly do against such overwhelming power? In the underground bunkers, alarms blared as the Titans sprang into action. Commander Vega stood at the head of her team, her sharp eyes scanning holographic displays showing the enemy fleet's movements. Around her, soldiers checked their weapons, reviewed battle plans, and prepared mentally for the fight of their lives. Though outwardly calm, Vega's mind raced. This was it, the moment they had trained for. The invaders had underestimated humanity, thinking it weak and defenseless. Now, they would learn the truth. "We've waited for this day," Vega said, addressing her troops. "They think we're nothing. Let's show them what happens when you mess with Earth." Her words ignited a fire in the hearts of her soldiers. For years they had trained in secret, honing their skills and pushing their bodies to the limit. Now finally they had a chance to prove themselves, to protect the planet they called home. As orders came down from global leaders to retaliate, Vega gave a fierce smile. She knew exactly what she and her team were capable of. The aliens may have brought fear, but humanity had prepared its own nightmare. Above ground, chaos reigned. Cities descended into pandemonium as people fled in every direction, desperate to escape the looming threat. In the skies, fighter jets scrambled to intercept the alien ships only to be vaporized instantly by superior firepower. Tanks rolled out onto battlefields, firing missiles that bounced harmlessly off the invaders' shields. It was clear that conventional weapons wouldn't work against such advanced technology. Humanity needed something more, something extraordinary. That's when the Star Destroyers appeared. From hidden launch sites buried deep within Earth's crust, hundreds of sleek, angular ships rose into the sky. Unlike anything seen before, these vessels were the result of decades of research and development. Powered by engines fueled by antimatter and armed with weapons capable of punching through the toughest defenses, piloted by elite crews handpicked from the best military units in the world, they formed a protective barrier around the planet, ready to take the fight to the enemy. As the first shots were fired, the galaxy watched in disbelief. The primitive species they had mocked was fighting back, and doing so with terrifying efficiency. The aliens quickly realized they had made a grave mistake underestimating humanity. But it was too late to turn back now. The battle for Earth had begun. The battle for Earth began with a deafening roar that shook the planet to its core. The alien fleet, numbering in the hundreds, unleashed a barrage of energy blasts toward humanity's newly revealed star destroyers. The sky lit up like fireworks, as beams of light streaked across the atmosphere, colliding in bursts of blinding explosions. For a moment it seemed impossible that Earth's ships could stand against such overwhelming firepower. But then, something extraordinary happened. Humanity's star destroyers didn't just survive, they fought back with precision and ferocity. Each ship was equipped with cutting-edge weapons designed specifically to counter alien technology. Railguns fired projectiles at near-light speeds, tearing through enemy shields and puncturing hulls. Plasma cannons unleashed torrents of superheated energy, melting through armor plating and sending alien vessels spiraling out of control. The invaders quickly realized they were facing an opponent far more advanced than they had anticipated. Their confidence wavered, replaced by confusion and fear. Commander Elena Vega stood aboard her flagship, Eclipse, watching the chaos unfold on holographic displays. Her sharp eyes darted between screens showing real-time data from every corner of the battlefield. Around her, officers worked frantically, relaying orders and coordinating attacks. Despite the chaos, Vega remained calm, her mind processing information faster than any computer. She knew this was only the beginning. The aliens outnumbered them, and their largest ship, their flagship, had yet to engage fully. If humanity wanted to win, they needed to strike hard and fast before the enemy regrouped. "Initiate Operation Hammerfall," Vega ordered, her voice steady despite the tension in the air. Operation Hammerfall was a carefully planned strategy developed during years of simulations and training. It involved splitting humanity's forces into two groups, one to hold the line against the main alien fleet, and another, led by Vega herself, to infiltrate the enemy flagship. The goal was simple but dangerous: disable the command center and cripple the invaders' ability to coordinate their attack. Without leadership, the alien ships would become disorganized and vulnerable. As the order went out, Vega turned to her team of Titans. They were gathered around her, clad in sleek combat suits enhanced with nanotechnology. Each soldier was a masterpiece of human ingenuity, a living weapon capable of feats beyond imagination. Among them was Lieutenant Marcus Kane, Vega's second-in-command and closest friend. His muscular frame and fierce determination made him a natural leader, while his tactical brilliance complemented Vega's own skills perfectly. There was also Specialist Aaron Patel, a tech genius who could hack into almost any system, and Corporal Mei Chen, whose marksmanship was unmatched even among the Titans. "All right, listen up," Vega said, addressing her squad. "This isn't just about winning a battle. This is about proving to the galaxy that Earth isn't some weak little planet to be bullied. We're fighting for our home, for everyone down there looking up at us right now. Let's show them what we're made of." Her words ignited a fire in the hearts of her soldiers. They nodded grimly, their expressions hardened with resolve. Then, without another word, they boarded a stealth shuttle and launched themselves toward the alien flagship. The journey was fraught with danger. Enemy fighters swarmed the skies, attempting to intercept the shuttle, but Vega's pilots expertly maneuvered through the chaos, using evasive tactics to avoid detection. Within minutes, they reached the massive vessel looming ahead, a monstrosity, bristling with turrets and glowing with ominous energy. The shuttle docked silently in one of the flagship's hangars, deploying the Titans directly onto the alien ship. As soon as they stepped out, they were greeted by a scene straight out of a nightmare. The interior of the ship was a labyrinth of twisting corridors and pulsating walls made of organic material. Strange creatures scurried past, their forms grotesque and unnatural. These weren't machines or robots, they were living beings bred for war, with razor-sharp claws and glowing eyes that glowed with malice. The air smelled of sulfur and decay, making it hard to breathe. "This place feels alive," May whispered, gripping her rifle tightly. "It is," Arun replied, scanning the walls with a handheld device. "The ship itself is part machine, part organism. It adapts and repairs itself automatically." Vega nodded grimly. "Stay alert. We don't know what other surprises are waiting for us." They moved cautiously through the corridors, sticking to the shadows and avoiding patrols of alien soldiers. These warriors were tall and muscular, their bodies covered in thick exoskeletons that shimmered like metal. They carried weapons unlike anything humanity had ever seen, long staffs crackling with blue energy, capable of slicing through steel, like butter. Even the Titans knew better than to underestimate them. Their first encounter came unexpectedly. As they rounded a corner, a group of alien soldiers emerged from a doorway, their movements swift and silent. Before anyone could react, they opened fire, sending arcs of energy sizzling through the air. The Titans dove for cover, returning fire with pinpoint accuracy. Bullets tore through the aliens' exoskeletons, but it wasn't enough to stop them completely. One soldier lunged at Marcus, swinging his staff with deadly precision. Marcus blocked the attack with his forearm, the force of the blow nearly knocking him off his feet. With a roar, he countered, driving his fist into the alien's chest and shattering its ribcage. "Damn, these things are tough," Marcus growled, wiping blood from his knuckles. "They're not invincible," Vega said firmly. "Keep moving." They pressed on, leaving behind the smoking remains of their enemies. Along the way, they encountered more horrors. Rooms filled with pods containing half-formed creatures, chambers humming with strange machinery, and hallways patrolled by monstrous beasts. Each step brought new challenges, testing their strength, courage, and teamwork. But the Titans pushed forward relentlessly, driven by the knowledge that failure wasn't an option. Finally, after what felt like hours, they reached the heart of the ship, the command center. It was a vast chamber dominated by a towering console, surrounded by floating holograms displaying tactical maps and status updates. At the center stood the Zorathian commander, a towering figure clad in golden armor, his presence radiating power and authority. His eyes glowed with an unnatural light as he turned to face the intruders, his expression unreadable. "You dare trespass here?" the commander boomed, his voice echoing throughout the chamber. "You insignificant insects will pay for your insolence." Vega stepped forward, her weapon raised. "We're not insects. We're humans, and we're taking back our planet." With that, the final battle began. The Zorathian commander unleashed a wave of energy that sent shockwaves rippling through the room, forcing the Titans to scatter. Alien reinforcements poured in from side entrances, surrounding the team and cutting off their escape routes. Outnumbered and outgunned, the Titans fought with everything they had. May picked off enemies with precise shots, her bullets finding their marks with deadly accuracy. Aaron hacked into the ship's systems, disabling turrets and causing sections of the wall to collapse, trapping the aliens inside. Marcus charged headfirst into melee combat, his fists smashing through exoskeletons and sending bodies flying. Meanwhile, Vega focused on the commander. She dodged his attacks with lightning speed, countering with strikes of her own. Her enhanced reflexes allowed her to weave through his energy blasts, closing the distance between them. When she finally landed a punch, it sent the commander stumbling backward, his armor cracking under the impact. Enraged, he unleashed a flurry of blows, each one powerful enough to crush steel. But Vega held her ground, matching him, blow for blow, until she found an opening. With a swift kick, she knocked him off balance, sending him crashing to the floor. Seizing the opportunity, Vega activated a device on her wrist, a prototype EMP generator designed to disrupt alien technology. She slammed it onto the console, triggering a cascade of failures throughout the ship. Lights flickered, alarms blared, and the entire structure began to tremble violently. The Zorathian commander let out a guttural roar as his connection to the ship faltered, leaving him weakened and vulnerable. "It's over," Vega said coldly, aiming her weapon at him. "Surrender or die." For a moment, the commander hesitated. Then, with a snarl of defiance, he lunged at her one last time. Vega fired, and the blast struck him square in the chest, reducing him to ash. As his body disintegrated, the remaining aliens fell into disarray, retreating deeper into the ship or abandoning it altogether. Back on Earth, people watched in awe as the alien fleet began to withdraw. Ship after ship pulled away from orbit, fleeing the wrath of humanity's defenders. Cheers erupted in cities around the world as news spread of the victory. Humanity had faced extinction and triumphed. But for Commander Vega and her team, there was no time to celebrate. They still had work to do. As the flagship groaned and shuddered around them, Vega gave the order to plant explosives deep within its core. Once detonated, the resulting explosion would destroy the ship and send a clear message to the rest of the galaxy. Earth was not to be trifled with. As they escaped in their shuttle, the flagship erupted in a brilliant fire. The explosion of the alien flagship lit up Earth's sky like a supernova, a fiery testament to humanity's defiance against an overwhelming enemy. For a moment, it felt as though the entire planet held its breath, watching the spectacle unfold. People gathered in streets, parks, and rooftops, their faces illuminated by the glow of the dying ship. Some cried tears of relief, others cheered wildly, waving flags or chanting patriotic slogans. The message was clear. Humanity had stood tall when faced with extinction, and it had won. But for Commander Elena Vega and her team of Titans, there was no time to bask in the glory of their hard-fought victory. As their shuttle streaked away from the crumbling wreckage of the Zorathian flagship, alarms blared inside the cockpit. The rest of the alien fleet was retreating, but not all ships were leaving peacefully. Several smaller vessels broke formation, descending toward Earth with reckless abandon. These rogue ships weren't surrendering. They were on a suicide mission, aiming to cause as much destruction as possible before being destroyed themselves. "Commander, we've got incoming," shouted Specialist Aaron Patel, his fingers flying, over a holographic display showing the trajectories of the descending ships. 3 targets heading straight for major population centers, New York, Tokyo, and Mumbai. Vega clenched her jaw, her mind racing through options. Humanity had just proven it could fight back, but these final attacks threatened to undo everything they had achieved. Millions of lives hung in the balance, and she couldn't let them fall without a fight. "We need to split up," Vega ordered, her voice sharp and commanding. "May, Marcus, you take one shuttle and intercept the target heading for New York. Arun and I will handle Tokyo. We'll coordinate remotely and ensure those cities survive." Her team nodded grimly, already moving into action. Mei Chen and Marcus Kane boarded a second shuttle, detaching from the main craft moments later. But no. Engines roaring, both shuttles hurtled toward their respective destinations, cutting through Earth's atmosphere like meteors. The race against time had begun. In New York City, panic gripped the streets as sirens wailed and emergency broadcasts urged citizens to evacuate. The alien ship loomed overhead, its shadow casting darkness across Manhattan. Buildings shook as energy blasts rained down, obliterating skyscrapers and sending plumes of smoke billowing into the air. Firefighters and paramedics worked tirelessly to save lives, but the sheer scale of the devastation overwhelmed them. Above the chaos, May and Marcus soared in their shuttle, dodging debris and enemy fire. The alien ship unleashed waves of drones, each one armed with devastating weaponry. May leaned out of the open hatch, her rifle steady despite the turbulence. Her aim was flawless, picking off drones one by one as Marcus piloted the shuttle closer to the main vessel. "This is insane," Marcus shouted over the roar of explosions. "We're outnumbered 10-1. "We don't have a choice," May replied, reloading her weapon. "If we don't stop this thing, millions will die." With gritted teeth, Marcus pushed the shuttle to its limits, weaving through the swarm of drones until they reached the underside of the alien ship. Using grappling hooks, they latched onto the hull and deployed onto its surface. The metal groaned beneath their boots as they moved quickly, searching for a weak point to breach. Inside the alien ship, the environment was even more hostile than before. Corridors twisted unnaturally, walls pulsated with organic material, and strange creatures lurked around every corner. But May and Marcus pressed forward, driven by adrenaline and determination. They reached the ship's reactor room, a massive chamber filled with glowing conduits and humming machinery. Without hesitation, May planted explosives at key points, setting a timer that would give them exactly 5 minutes to escape. "Let's move," Marcus barked, grabbing her arm and pulling her toward the exit. They sprinted back the way they came, dodging ambushes and collapsing tunnels. Just as they leaped onto their shuttle outside, the timer hit 0. A deafening explosion tore through the alien ship, splitting it apart like a cracked egg. The remains plummeted harmlessly into the ocean, sparing New York from further destruction. Meanwhile, in Tokyo, Vega and Arun faced their own battle. The alien ship targeting the city was larger and better defended than the one over New York. Its shields shimmered like liquid light, deflecting every missile and energy blast fired at it. Earth's star destroyers circled overhead, trying desperately to break through, but progress was slow. "We can't rely on the fleet alone," Vega said, studying the situation on her tactical display. "We need to get inside and disable the shields manually." Arun nodded, already hacking into the ship's systems via remote access. "I've identified a maintenance hatch on the lower deck. If we can infiltrate undetected, I might be able to bypass their security protocols." Without wasting another second, Vega piloted the shuttle toward the designated entry point. They landed silently on the ship's outer hull, using magnetic boots to anchor themselves as they approached the hatch. Inside, the ship was eerily quiet compared to the chaos outside. The corridors were dimly lit, and the air crackled with static electricity. Every step echoed ominously, raising the hairs on the back of their necks. "I don't like this," Vega muttered, scanning the area with her rifle. "It's too quiet." As if on cue, a group of alien soldiers emerged from a side passage, their weapons raised. Vega reacted instantly, firing a burst of bullets that took down 2 of them before diving behind cover. Aaron followed suit, tossing a grenade that cleared the hallway of any remaining resistance. "They knew we were coming," Aaron said, panting heavily. "Someone must have tipped them off." "No time to worry about that now," Vega snapped. "Keep moving." They pressed onward, finally reaching the shield generator room. It was heavily guarded, with dozens of aliens standing watch. Vega formulated a plan on the spot, signaling for Arun to create a diversion while she flanked the enemy from behind. Using smoke grenades and flashbangs, Arun drew the guard's attention, allowing Vega to slip past unnoticed. Once inside, she disabled the generator with surgical precision, rendering the ship vulnerable to attack. Outside, Earth's star destroyers seized the opportunity, unleashing a barrage of missiles that obliterated the alien vessel in seconds. Cheers erupted among the pilots as the threat to Tokyo was neutralized. Back in Mumbai, the third alien ship continued its descent, intent on causing maximum damage. Civilians fled in terror as buildings collapsed under relentless bombardment. In orbit, Commander Vega coordinated with local defense forces, guiding them to strategic positions where they could maximize their firepower. At the same time, she dispatched additional teams of Titans to assist on the ground. One such team was led by Lieutenant Sarah Kim, a skilled tactician known for her ability to adapt under pressure. Alongside her were Corporal Ravi Singh and Specialist Liam O'Connor, both veterans of countless battles. Together they fought valiantly, holding the line against waves of alien reinforcements sent to secure the crash site. As the fighting raged on, Sarah noticed something unusual, a faint signal emanating from deep within the alien ship. It wasn't part of their standard communications network, which meant it could only be one thing: a distress call. "They're calling for backup," Sarah realized, her eyes narrowing. "If reinforcements arrive, we're finished." She relayed the information to Vega, who immediately devised a countermeasure. "Jam the signal," Vega ordered, "and plant charges throughout the ship. We can't afford to let them regroup." Sarah obeyed, leading her team deeper into the alien vessel. They encountered fierce resistance but managed to reach the communication array, disabling it just in time. Explosives were set along critical structural points, ensuring the ship would collapse inward rather than explode outward and harm innocent civilians. As they made their escape, the charges detonated, reducing the alien ship to rubble. The threat to Mumbai was eliminated, and the skies above Earth finally fell silent. When the dust settled, humanity breathed a collective sigh of relief. The immediate danger had passed, but the cost of victory was staggering. Entire cities lay in ruins, thousands of lives lost, and billions left traumatized by the horrors they had witnessed. Yet amid the devastation, there was also hope. For the first time in history, humanity had united, not just across nations, but across continents, to face a common enemy. The world had seen what could be achieved when people worked together, and that realization sparked a wave of optimism. Governments around the globe pledged to rebuild stronger than ever, investing heavily in technology recovered from the alien wreckage. Factories churned out new starships powered by reverse-engineered alien engines. Scientists unlocked secrets of faster-than-light travel, opening doors to exploration beyond Earth's solar system. Colonies sprang up on the Moon and Mars, serving as safe havens in case of future invasions. Commander Vega addressed the world during a global broadcast, standing tall amidst the ruins of what had once been a thriving city. Her uniform was torn and bloodied, but her spirit remained unbroken. Today we proved that humanity is not just a part of the universe. We are its future, she declared. The days following Earth's victory over the Zorathians were a whirlwind of emotions: relief, grief, pride, and fear all mingling together like storms on the horizon. Cities lay in ruins, their skylines reduced to jagged silhouettes against smoke-filled skies. Streets once bustling with life were now eerily silent, save for the hum of construction equipment and the distant cries of survivors searching for loved ones. Yet amidst the devastation, there was an undeniable sense of unity. For the first time in history, humanity had truly come together, not as nations divided by borders, but as one species united by survival. Governments around the world worked tirelessly to rebuild what had been lost. Billions of dollars poured into recovery efforts, funding everything from housing projects to medical facilities. Refugees displaced by the attacks found shelter in temporary camps, where volunteers provided food, water, and emotional support. Scientists collaborated across continents, sharing knowledge gleaned from studying the alien wreckage. The technology they uncovered was unlike anything humanity had ever seen, a blend of organic and mechanical systems that defied conventional understanding. It wasn't long before breakthroughs began emerging at an unprecedented pace. One of the most significant discoveries came from Dr. Elena Rodriguez, a brilliant physicist who had spent her career researching quantum mechanics. Using fragments salvaged from the Zorathian ships, she developed a new form of energy source: zero-point reactors capable of generating limitless power without harming the environment. These reactors quickly became the backbone of Earth's reconstruction efforts, powering cities, factories, and even entire colonies on the Moon and Mars. With access to clean, sustainable energy, humanity embarked on a golden age of innovation. Advances in medicine followed close behind. Alien biological samples revealed compounds capable of accelerating healing and curing diseases once thought incurable. Hospitals equipped with these new treatments saved countless lives, giving hope to those who had suffered during the invasion. Meanwhile, engineers reverse-engineered alien propulsion systems, creating spacecraft capable of traveling faster than light. Within months, Earth launched its first interstellar exploration missions, venturing beyond the solar system to chart unknown regions of the galaxy. But progress came at a cost. As humanity reached new heights, it also faced difficult questions about its place in the universe. Who were they now? A species that had fought off an alien invasion, or conquerors eager to claim territory among the stars? Debates raged in parliaments, universities, and living rooms across the globe. Some argued that Earth should focus inward, healing its wounds and strengthening itself before stepping further onto the galactic stage. Others believed the opposite, that humanity needed to expand aggressively, securing resources and allies before another hostile force arrived. Commander Elena Vega found herself at the center of these discussions. As the face of humanity's resistance against the Zorathians, she had become a symbol of hope and resilience. Her image appeared on posters, news broadcasts, and even murals painted on the sides of buildings. People looked to her for guidance, trusting her judgment in matters both military and moral. But beneath her calm exterior, Vega wrestled with doubts. She knew better than anyone how fragile Earth's victory had been. If not for Project Titan and the sacrifices made by countless soldiers, humanity might have been wiped out entirely. The thought weighed heavily on her mind. "Commander, Lieutenant Marcus Kane said one evening as they stood overlooking a newly constructed starship dock. "Do you think we're ready for what comes next?" Vega turned to him, her expression thoughtful. "Ready? No. Prepared? Yes. There's a difference." Marcus nodded slowly, his gaze fixed on the horizon. "It feels like we're playing catch-up. Every step forward feels like 2 steps closer to something we can't control." "That's because we are," Vega admitted. "We've taken our first steps into a much larger universe, but we're still learning the rules. And make no mistake, the galaxy isn't going to wait for us to figure things out." Her words hung in the air, heavy with implication. Despite Earth's newfound strength, it remained vulnerable. The Zorathians may have retreated, but their defeat would not go unnoticed. Other civilizations, some friendly, others hostile, were watching closely, waiting to see how humanity would wield its power. Already, signals from deep space hinted at alliances forming and rivalries intensifying. Humanity's actions in the coming years would shape its destiny forever. In the weeks that followed, Vega and her team focused on fortifying Earth's defenses. Star destroyers patrolled the planet's orbit, their sleek forms glinting in the sunlight. Ground-based installations bristled with advanced weaponry, ready to repel any future invasions. Underground bunkers housed stockpiles of supplies and cutting-edge technology, ensuring humanity could endure prolonged sieges if necessary. Even civilian populations received training in emergency protocols, turning ordinary citizens into potential fighters if the need arose. Yet despite these preparations, Vega couldn't shake the feeling that they were missing something. Intelligence. Reports indicated unusual activity near the edge of human-controlled space. Ships of unknown origin had been spotted lurking just outside sensor range, their intentions unclear. Some analysts dismissed them as scavengers or traders, while others feared they might be scouts sent by a rival empire. Either way, their presence was troubling. To investigate, Vega assembled a small task force consisting of herself, Marcus, Mei Chen, Arun Patel, and a few other trusted members of Project Titan. Their mission was simple yet dangerous: venture into uncharted territory and determine whether Earth faced another threat. Equipped with state-of-the-art stealth cruisers and experimental weapons, they set course for the coordinates where the mysterious ships had last been detected. The journey took them far beyond the boundaries of human exploration, into regions of space untouched by Earth's influence. Here the stars burned brighter, their light reflected in swirling nebulae and asteroid fields thick with debris. The silence was profound, broken only by the faint hum of their engines. For days they scanned the void, finding nothing but empty space. Then on the 5th day, their sensors picked up movement, a fleet of ships emerging from hyperspace directly ahead. They were unlike anything Vega's team had encountered before. Sleek and angular, their hulls shimmered with iridescent colors that shifted depending on the angle of view. Weapons turrets lined their exteriors, glowing faintly with latent energy. Most striking of all was their insignia, a stylized phoenix encircled by flames. "This doesn't look good," May muttered, peering through the viewport. "They're hailing us," Arun reported, adjusting the communication console. "Audio only," Vega nodded. "Patch it through." A voice filled the cabin, smooth and melodic yet laced with authority. "Earth vessel, identify yourselves and state your purpose here." "This is Commander Elena Vega of Project Titan," she replied, keeping her tone neutral. "We represent humanity and seek peaceful dialogue." There was a pause followed by a low chuckle. "Humanity, so bold, so defiant. You amuse us." "Who are you?" Vega demanded, her patience wearing thin. "We are the Etherians," the voice answered, "guardians of balance within this sector. Your recent conflict with the Zorathians has drawn our attention. Tell us, do you intend to continue spreading chaos, or will you submit to our rule?" Vega exchanged glances with her crew. The Etherians clearly saw themselves as superior beings, entitled to dictate the fate of lesser species. But humanity had already proven it wouldn't bow to tyranny. "We won't submit to anyone," Vega said firmly. "Earth stands on its own." The response was immediate and violent. The Etherian ships opened fire, unleashing beams of energy that crackled with destructive force. Vega's team barely escaped, diving into an asteroid field to evade pursuit. Explosions rocked nearby rocks as enemy shots narrowly missed their mark. "Hold tight," Marcus shouted, gripping the controls as he maneuvered through the treacherous terrain. "We're not dying today." For hours they played cat and mouse with the Etherians, using every trick they knew to stay alive. Finally, they managed to slip away, retreating back toward Earth with critical intelligence about their new adversaries. When they returned, Vega presented her findings to global leaders. The Etherians posed a grave threat, one far greater than the Zorathians. Unlike their brutish predecessors, the Etherians were strategic and calculated, viewing conquest not as domination, but as a means of maintaining order. They believed themselves to be gods among mortals, destined to rule the galaxy. "We can't fight them alone," Vega warned. "If we want to survive, we'll need allies." Her suggestions sparked heated debates. Some argued that seeking help from extraterrestrial civilizations was too risky. Others insisted it was the only way forward. Ultimately, a decision was made. Earth would send envoys to neighboring star systems, hoping to forge alliances with species willing to stand against the Etherians. As preparations began, Vega reflected on the path ahead. Humanity had come so far in such a short time, but the road was fraught with danger. Each choice carried consequences. Each alliance brought horror. The galaxy was vast, unpredictable, and unforgiving, a place where survival depended not just on strength but also on strategy, alliances, and sheer willpower. Humanity had taken its first steps into this dangerous expanse, proving itself capable of standing toe-to-toe with civilizations far older and more advanced. But victories came at a cost, and the scars of battle ran deep, not just on Earth's surface, but in the hearts of those who fought for its survival. Commander Elena. Vega stood atop a hill overlooking one of Earth's newest colonies, a sprawling city built on Mars. Its domed structures gleamed under the red planet's dim sunlight, surrounded by fields of genetically modified crops designed to thrive in alien soil. The air inside the biodomes was breathable thanks to cutting-edge terraforming technology adapted from alien designs. Thousands of settlers worked tirelessly to make this barren world habitable, their efforts driven by hope rather than fear. It was a testament to humanity's resilience, an example of what could be achieved when people dared to dream beyond their limitations. But Vega knew better than anyone that dreams alone weren't enough. Behind her stood Lieutenant Marcus Kane, Specialist Arun Patel, Corporal Mei Chen, and the rest of Project Titan. They were no longer just soldiers. They were symbols of humanity's determination to survive. Their uniforms bore patches representing battles fought and sacrifices made, each stitch a reminder of how close they had come to annihilation. Yet here they were, alive and ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. "Do you think we've done enough?" Marcus asked quietly, his voice carrying over the wind. Vega turned to him, her expression thoughtful. "Enough isn't something we get to decide. We keep fighting until there's nothing left to fight for." Her words resonated deeply with the team. They had seen too much death, too much destruction, to believe in endings. Every victory was merely a stepping stone toward the next challenge. And right now, the greatest challenge loomed larger than ever. The Etherians. The envoys sent to neighboring star systems returned weeks later with mixed results. Some species welcomed humanity's overtures, intrigued by their rapid technological advancements and defiance against the Zorathians. Others dismissed them as insignificant newcomers unworthy of attention. A few even offered tentative alliances, though their motives remained unclear. Among these allies was the Krill, a nomadic race known for their mastery of stealth and espionage. With sleek ships invisible to most sensors, the Krill operated in the shadows, gathering intelligence and sabotaging enemies from within. Their leader, a cunning strategist named Silas, met with Vega aboard Eclipse, humanity's flagship. His presence was commanding yet unassuming, his sharp eyes betraying centuries of experience navigating galactic politics. "You're bold," Silas said after hearing Vega's proposal for an alliance. "Most civilizations would cower before the Etherians. You, however, seem eager to march straight into their fire." "We don't have the luxury of cowardice," Vega replied evenly. "If we don't stand against them, who will?" Silas chuckled, leaning back in his seat. "I admire your spirit, Commander. Very well, we'll help you. But understand this. The Etherians are not like the Zorathians. They don't rely on brute force alone. Their power lies in manipulation, in turning friends into foes and sowing discord wherever they go. Trust is a weapon they wield better than any gun." Vega nodded grimly. She had suspected as much, but hearing it confirmed only reinforced the stakes. The upcoming conflict wouldn't just be about firepower, it would be about unity. Humanity couldn't afford to fracture under pressure. Preparations for war began immediately. Earth's fleets were bolstered by contributions from allied races, including the Krill's cloaked cruisers and the Vorthak, a warrior species renowned for their prowess in hand-to-hand combat. Training exercises simulated every possible scenario, pushing soldiers to their limits and beyond. Meanwhile, scientists worked around the clock to develop new weapons and defenses, drawing inspiration from alien tech recovered during previous battles. Despite these efforts, Vega couldn't ignore the growing unease among her team. The weight of leadership rested heavily on her shoulders, and she often found herself questioning whether she was making the right decisions. Late at night, when the others slept, she wandered the ship's corridors, staring out at the endless void of space. Each star seemed to whisper secrets of the universe, secrets humanity wasn't ready to uncover. One evening, May joined her in the observation deck. The two women stood side by side, gazing at the distant constellations. "You look tired," May said softly. "I feel tired," Vega admitted. "Every choice we make feels like rolling dice. One wrong move, and everything falls apart." May placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder. "You've carried us this far, Commander. Don't doubt yourself now, we trust you." Her words brought a small measure of comfort, but Vega knew trust alone wouldn't win the war. What mattered most was action. When the time came, humanity's forces assembled near the edge of Etherian-controlled space. Dozens of ships formed, a massive armada, their engines glowing faintly as they waited for orders. At the center of the formation floated Eclipse, its hull adorned with banners symbolizing Earth's resolve. Inside, Vega addressed her troops via holographic broadcast, her voice steady despite the tension in the air. "Today we take our stand," she declared. "Not just for Earth, but for every civilization that refuses to live under tyranny. The Etherians may see themselves as gods, but we know the truth. They're flawed just like us. And today, we prove that even gods can fall." With those words, the fleet surged forward, entering enemy territory. Almost instantly, alarms blared as Etherian ships appeared from hyperspace, surrounding them on all sides. Energy blasts lit up the darkness, shaking the very fabric of space. Explosions erupted across the battlefield as ships collided, shields collapsed, and debris scattered like confetti. Amid the chaos, Vega led her team on a daring mission to infiltrate the Etherians' command vessel, a colossal dreadnought bristling with turrets and glowing with menacing energy. Using Krill cloaking technology, they slipped past enemy patrols undetected, planting explosives throughout the ship's core. As the countdown timer ticked down, they raced toward their escape shuttle, dodging ambushes and collapsing tunnels. Just as they reached safety, the charges detonated, tearing the dreadnought apart in a spectacular explosion. Without their flagship, the Etherian fleet faltered, retreating into the depths of space. Cheers erupted aboard Eclipse as victory became clear, but Vega knew better than to celebrate prematurely. In the aftermath of the battle, humanity solidified its position among the stars. Treaties were signed with allied races, establishing trade routes and mutual defense agreements. Earth's colonies flourished, becoming hubs of innovation and culture. New technologies transformed daily life, curing diseases, extending lifespans, and unlocking mysteries of the cosmos. Yet Vega remained vigilant. Somewhere out there, other threats lingered. Ancient empires waiting to rise, rogue factions plotting revenge, and untold dangers lurking in the unknown reaches of the galaxy. Humanity's journey was far from over. As she stood on the bridge of Eclipse, watching Earth spin peacefully below, Vega allowed herself a rare moment of reflection. From the ashes of despair, humanity had risen stronger than ever. They had faced extinction and triumphed, proving that even the smallest speck of dust could shine brightly when pushed to its limits. "What happens now?" Marcus asked, joining her at the viewport. Vega smiled faintly. Now we build a future worth fighting for." And so, humanity stepped boldly into the unknown, its destiny intertwined with the stars. The age of exploration had begun, and Earth would never be the same again.